And my God will supply all your needs according to his glorious riches. And my God will supply all of your needs according to his glorious riches. Once upon a time, there was a young man who was working for the Lord. He had borrowed an axe and he was chopping down a tree to build a school for the prophets. I mean, this young guy had done many, many jobs, but this job just felt different. This job was for God, and he knew that he was blessed. I mean, he felt good, and he had picked the perfect tree, and the wood chips were flying, and he was just wailing away at this thing, and the tree was almost about ready to drop. And he reared back for one last giant swing, and as he swung, the axe head, which had been quietly, slowly loosening on him without him even noticing, slipped off, and with the momentum of the swing, it just soared through the air and kerplunk, splashed right into the river. And this river was moving. It was muddy, and the man cried out. He dropped the axe stick. He rushed into the water, and he started feeling around, and he was drowning. I mean, he felt just like that axe head somewhere on the bottom of the river, like all of these doubts started to flood his mind. He was like, oh my goodness, I borrowed this thing and I can't afford to pay it back. And what am I going to say to my neighbor? And I'm doing this thing for God. Why would he let this happen to me? And he just started to struggle. And you know how that cascade goes. It starts with one doubt, and pretty soon there's 10, and then you're just struggling underneath a burden of anxiety, and he started to panic. And all of a sudden, he heard the calm voice of Elisha call out. And he turned and he sloshed back to shore, and he told Elisha the whole story, and he just had tears coming down his face because he did not know how to fix this problem. My God will meet all your needs according to his glorious riches. Man, what could God do for this guy? Should Elisha pray and poof, he gets a brand new axe, or could he just pray for him and maybe the next door neighbor you know what, it's fine, I got a ton of axes, don't worry about it. So many different solutions, but what Elisha does is he cuts a branch. He cuts a branch off of a tree, and he cuts it and he throws that branch into the water right where the axe sank. And you know what happens? There's a couple little bubbles, and then all of a sudden this heavy chunk of metal floats to the surface, and it's just bobbing there like a fish bobber on the end of a fishing line. And the young man's looking at it, and he just can't believe his eyes. And Elisha says, go get it. The cut branch, that's a symbol of Jesus. Other parts of the Bible, it talks about him being the branch and how he was cut off from God. You see, on the cross, Jesus said, my God, why have you forsaken me? Because he was cut off from God. You see, that's what sins do to us. They separate us from God. And the ultimate sin, the unpardonable sin, isn't doing something really, really bad. It's that final cut off, where we say, God, I don't have anything else to do with you, and we cut ourselves off from him. You see, that's the cup that Jesus drank in Gethsemane. God wasn't punishing Jesus on the cross. Jesus said, I will drink the full cup of the separation that sin causes. I'm going to take Grant's separation and his sin. I'm going to take your separation and your sin, and I'm going to drink it. And that broke him off of his connection with God. Jesus became the broken branch. And then in this story in the Old Testament, we have a story of hope where Jesus, the broken branch, makes the axe head float. Do you feel like that axe head sunk down into the mud? The water's up over your head. You can't breathe. You're drowning. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like your anxiety or your depression or the stress in your life is just threatening to strangle you and drown you? Look up, because the cut off branch is floating just above you. And He will let you rise up so that you can float. My God will meet all your needs according to His glorious riches. All of your needs. I don't know how, and I don't know when, and that's part of the adventure of faith. It's reaching out in the midst of the darkness and saying, the light is coming. It's looking at the giant who's very alive and saying, my God will take you down. That's why Paul says it's stupid to the wisdom. The gospel is stupidity to the wise. So today, just know that Jesus is the branch that was cut off. And that when we choose Him, we can float. God bless.